When reflecting on Seminar 1, I find that effective communication and constructive criticism is two of the most important topics that we learned about. To function successfully in a small group, students need to be able to communicate clearly on intellectual as well as emotional levels. Effective communicators can explain their own ideas, express their feelings in an open but non-threatening way, listen carefully to others, ask questions to clarify each other's ideas and emotions. They also can sense how others feel based on their nonverbal communication, as well as initiate conversations about group climate or process if they sense some tensions. Effective communicators also reflect on the activities and interactions of the group and encourage other group members to do so as well. Regular open communication, in which group members share their thoughts, ideas, and feelings, is a must for successful group work. Unspoken assumptions and issues can be very destructive to productive group functioning. When students are willing to communicate openly with one another, a healthy climate will emerge and an effective process can be followed. I find that one of the challenges we had this week was dealing with the time zone changes and everybody being on the boards at a different time. It can be hard to develop a rapport that in-group and in-person groups develop when we are only dealing with working on an online communication and everybody is on the boards giving comments and ideas at different times instead of sitting down in one big circle and being able to discuss our ideas, feelings, and thoughts. I think one way that we can overcome these challenges is to have some healthy constructive criticism. There's ways to have effective criticism. First, you need to prioritize your ideas and limit your feedback to the most important issues. Consider the feedback's potential value to the receiver and your group member and think of how you would respond. As well, having too much feedback can be overwhelming to your other group member. To give effective feedback, it's important to concentrate on the behavior and not the person. One strategy is to open by stating the behavior in question and then describing how you would feel about it, ending with what you want. This enables you to avoid sounding accusatory and by focusing on behaviors instead of assumed interpretations. You could say, I haven't seen you on the discussion board this week. I'm worried that you're missing important information on our group project. Can we meet soon to discuss it? Instead of saying, you obviously don't care about getting a good grade on this assignment. It's also important to be specific. Avoid general comments that may be hard and of limited use to the receiver. Try to include examples that illustrate your statement, as well as offering alternatives rather than just giving advice allows your group member to decide what to do with the feedback. Also, feedback should focus on what can be changed. It is useless and frustrating for your group members to get comments on something over which they have no control. Also, remember to avoid using words always and never, because your group members' behavior is rarely that consistent. It's also important to offer evaluative comments and use the pronoun I rather than they, for which would imply that your opinion is universally agreed on. Remember, the feedback is merely your opinion. Also, seek an appropriate time to communicate your feedback. Being prompt is key since feedback loses its impact if it's delayed too long. Delayed feedback can also cause feelings of guilt and resentment within the group if the opportunity for improvement has passed. As well, if your feedback is primarily negative, take time to prepare what you say were right and try to keep it as positive as possible. Group members will begin to be resentful and can cause a hard time for the group to stay on task and to complete their goals on deadline when the group's communication becomes negative. Feedback should also be a continuous process, not a one-time event. After offering feedback, make a conscious effort to follow up. Let recipients know you're available if they have questions, and if appropriate, ask for another opportunity to provide more feedback in the future. I think that by providing some constructive criticism to our group members who didn't participate as much this week or maybe didn't finish the assignment